not seen and heard about it. I'm also interested in the film you did with your wife, because a lot of the people who come to this course, we encourage them to do personal stories.
Yes.
You know, tell a story that you're comfortable with, subjects that you have access to. And you did a very personal story. If you could tell us a bit about that,
yeah,
the documentary.
that was really strange. That was, my wife and I had decided that we wanted to adopt a child. We looked into domestic adoption. And so I don't want to go there. It's horrible. The whole system is fucked here in this country. It's really stupid. It was really frustrating. So we just decided, okay, let's look into international adoption. We looked at a variety of countries, stuff like that. One thing led to another. And my wife said, oh, hey, why don't we go to Ukraine? I thought, hey, sounds like a good idea. Ukrainian, sure, okay, we'll go to Ukraine. But I had to keep reminding her, you know, even at the time, it was sort of like, okay, honey, and she's like a, raised in Montreal WASP. Said, look, I know my people all too well. Like Ukrainians are in their heart and soul, they're criminals, you know. And this is in, post-Soviet Ukraine. Now, Soviet Ukraine was pretty horrible. Post-Soviet Ukraine is even worse. And you all know about the big Orange Revolution that happened there, which was a big joke because nothing changed. Because the entire country is run by gangsters. And so we went there, and we actually went there, and one of the things we discussed was, you know what, we should document our time there, because it was the weirdest thing, because I actually said, you know what, there's every chance we could go through the hell of trying to adopt a kid in this horrible country. It's hard for me to say that because it's where my whole family's from, but we could go through that and still not wind up with a kid. So let's at least have a film for our troubles. And that was the whole idea. And the interesting thing is that our entire adoption was financed through the National Bank of Canada, that has this wonderful humanitarian loan program to adopt kids. So they'll give you this oodles of money, and then the payback is, the interest rate is negligible. You can just you just pay back a tiny bit every month for the rest of your life, or pay it all off, whatever you want. But it's like here, it's almost like free money. And so our trip to adopt this kid was covered. So it was interesting. Here we are in Ukraine trying to adopt a kid, going through the corruption of post-Soviet Ukraine, which was quite harrowing. This all happened between, it was really 99 to 2000 that the bulk of all this happened, and so we just shot tons and tons and tons of footage. And one of the things that Cynthia wanted to explore as a director was, she was adopted herself. She wanted to explore this whole notion of identity and all that kind of stuff, and I was going back to Ukraine, so there was this whole thing of identity there as well. So it was kind of cool. It was a very, very personal documentary, a very philosophical documentary, and that was a movie that was totally made out of, hey, we're filmmakers, we're doing this crazy thing. Well, might as well document it, because that might be all we end up with. We end up with a film and a kid, but...
Now, what was the film called?
It's called UFO Doggies, and it's really interesting because we actually did very well with it. It was nominated for, the News World Drama Award, and it played a couple of festivals, but then weirdness started happening. It's a personal film. You're sitting there, and it's like your life is on the screen. I had all these offers for TV broadcasts, left, right, and center, and we made actually a really hard decision. This is like a really tough decision. And the decision was, this is not just our story, this is our child. And one of the things that really disgusts me is how people are unburdening themselves on television all the time and stuff like that. It's just disgusting. And the last thing I wanted to do was put my child within that context. And I thought, you know what? People like the movie. The movie's universal in its appeal. When she's the age of the majority, and if she decides to put it out there, people will still want it. I'm not worried about that. So we pulled it. I refused all offers. Fuck, that's hard.
That's pretty rare.
And we put it on the shelf. We're going to wait till she's, of an age that she can make the decision herself. Daddy will handle the sales for her. Daddy's good at that. And that's that. I mean, so we've got this wonderful film, and we don't show it to anybody. Although we do. We show it, we show it to friends. We've had private showings. Sometimes we'll use it for, sometimes for charitable purposes. We'll have a screening to give money to orphanages in Ukraine and stuff like that. So we will show the film. But no. I'm not putting it out there for people to look at right now. Yeah. So that was that particular documentary, and that was like an amazing experience.
Was that your last documentary?